All right, folks, we are back on the Friday edition of the Steve Malzberg Show, and it was just 24 hours ago. We were all concerned and trying to figure out what had taken place in Washington, D.C., as there was a lockdown in effect in our nation's capital. And, of course, it turned out to be a woman from originally from Brooklyn, but most recently from Connecticut. Miriam Carey, 34 years old, of Stamford, Connecticut, who tried to plow her car into a barricade at the White House, then led cops on a high-speed chase before she was shot dead near the Capitol. And joining us right now to talk about this is a man who was most qualified insofar as how did the police usually handle these kinds of instances, did they react properly, etc. Dr. Kris Mohandie, police forensic psychologist who had worked for the LAPD Threat Management Unit, and we've had him on before during that L.A. shooting spree that took place, I guess, back in May. Hello, Doctor. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Steve. How are you doing today?
Good. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Okay, so, you know, it's a tragedy. Of course, while it was unfolding, we didn't know, and the cops didn't know who was in this car, what was in this car, as far as weapons, explosives, terrorism. So I guess they have to act accordingly, correct?
Right. I mean, they have no idea but what the behavior is, and what they have is unbeknownst to them, is an apparently delusional woman. Maybe it's due to the head injury she reportedly had, maybe because of her postpartum or other factors, but she, for whatever reason, is trying to ram her car into, the symbol of one of the symbols of our nation, the White House. And a car can be a very dangerous weapon. Often we think of a car as something that's transportation, but we have a number of deaths and injuries annually that can be attributed to to people that are driving their cars and using them in an aggressive fashion. And so the police had to deal with what they had. It's very sad. It's very tragic, very unfortunate. But at the same time, she was dangerous. And at the end of the day, I think we have to wait to see what all the investigations reveal about why it happened, what, if anything, could have been done differently. But it is important to remember that cars can and are used as a dangerous weapon. And as you watch the video, you can see that she was behaving in a very dangerous way. Yeah,
absolutely. And any time, no matter where you are, and I tell this to everybody, and I just wish more community leaders would tell this to all their kids, but they don't believe it, so they don't tell them. I say you always obey a police officer. If he tells you to jump, you say how high. If you have a problem with that police officer, report it later, but don't give police officer a reason to suspect that you have something, suspect you're up to no good, get his guard up. Just obey what they tell you to do. I mean, that's just a rule of thumb to follow for anybody, right?
That's right, and they have no idea who this person is or what their intentions might be. And if there is an issue, sort it out later, document it, and and take it up and pursue it. But in the moment, especially when you got Secret Service who are tasked with protecting the president and other and other notables, that's a high value target there. And if you're showing up there and you're not compliant, they have reason to believe that a person could be dangerous. And you couple that with the behavior, which was probably, I think we'll come to find, driven by delusions, unfortunately. In sickness that unfortunately this woman probably had. We don't know if her intention was to simply communicate, to hurt other people, or to hurt herself through what we call suicide by cop.
Right.
But we don't know, but we do know by watching it that she was engaged in very dangerous behavior. Not just when she was apparently about to engaged in very dangerous behavior. Not just when she was, apparently about to crash in with a child in the back of the car and with lots of pedestrians and other people driving. It's a sad outcome, but it was also a very dangerous situation.
Right. So from a threat management standpoint, the police they did what they had to do. All right.
Their job is to reduce risk and threat and keep themselves safe and protect the public. And it's just part of what they have to do is to do what they have to do to keep people safe. Hopefully, we can learn from this situation what maybe earlier on could have been done to identify and get this woman some help. What obviously there's some warning signs that we're learning about, that she was having some difficulties, early intervention to get people help that need it, I think is one of the lessons, and it can be very difficult when people don't believe that there's something wrong with them.
Yeah, no, and we've learned that, in event after event. We're talking to Dr. Kris Mohandie, a police forensic psychologist who has worked for the LAPD Threat Management Unit here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Yeah, we're talking about a woman who reportedly may have thought that Barack Obama was stalking her, was communicating with her and telling her what to do. So reportedly there were different kinds of prescribed drugs, I assume prescribed for schizophrenia and depression in her home. So it seems like, but thank God, the baby, the toddler, was not harmed.
That's right.
It's so easy, though, and I was driving home yesterday, and this is almost what prompted me to call you. I was driving home yesterday listening to a talk radio host, and when they found out that she was unarmed, when they found out she hadn't fired a shot, and she was a black woman, and just criticizing the police and calling them all kinds of names, and I said, and I just saw a video today, and everybody should see this video. CNN showed, I think this happened in August, I forget where it was, a cop. He had his camera on the hood. Cop asked this car, he pulled it over, and the guy gets out of the car. He says, "Sir, I need you to get back in the car, get back in the car." Guy's dressed in military fatigues. Get back in the car, get back in the car. Guy comes towards him and starts firing at him. Now, when a cop enters into a situation, especially in a car, but in any situation, he has to presume that everybody's capable of being a bad guy, and that's why you have to behave as a good guy, right?
Well, he or she, whatever that police officer is confronted with, they have to be prepared to deal with anything.
Right.
And they have to be able to rapidly shift gears. And, what's important to recognize is they have moments, if not milliseconds sometimes, to respond. And then we as a public get, days, weeks, months, and years to second-guess what happened in those moments. And oftentimes that's a difficult task. And it's not the same situation that the officer was presented with, or the agent, in the moment. And we saw what those agents were presented with. That's the great thing, is that there's some videotape to to say, this is what happened.
Yeah.
And you have a woman who's got these apparent delusions. People that get delusional, fortunately, most of them are not dangerous, but some are, if they believe that they're being done harm by the person that they may falsely believe is communicating with them, or doing wrong deeds to them. So,
right, absolutely.
The fact that she was doing what she was doing suggests that she was in a very delusional, probably psychotic state of mind, very unpredictable, and then her behavior on top of it, but actually did underscore that she was an imminent risk to the people that were around her.
Yeah. All right, Doctor, appreciate you coming on today. Pleasure to talk to you, sir.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.